I am a DJ and a music lover slash producer. Big shout outs to Pete Rock and DJ Premier. I say that because they are huge influences to me. Now, there's a lot of hip hop producers out there. I could slide right under there. Another one is Eric Sermon. Okay, but don't let me leave out producers like RZA, um, of course, Jay Dilla. You know, so some of these conversations I'll be doing weekly will be about these people. They're very important to our community, the hip hop community, that is, and the music that they did is just fantastic, and it will live on forever, right? So, speaking of that, I think today or to this evening, I want to talk about longevity music, right? So, I'm listening to Funkadelic, not just Knee Deep. And I'm saying to myself, this is really, it's been funky forever. When I first heard it, I was just like blown away. I'm older. I can't tell you my age. Just know that this came out in 79. I was very, very influential at that time. Okay. But I was just blown away when I first heard it. And, you know, in my mind, I didn't think music could get any better than that. And so being a funk child, you know, groove heavy music was what I was attracted to. So we're talking about groups like Cameo, Fatback, Ohio Players, Brass Construction, Slave, and the list goes on and on and on, right? But one thing that I noticed as music changed, I got older, hip hop became, uh, mainstream for a time, and then it, entered, R&B, it entered jazz, it entered rock. Um, but now things have changed. The hip hop today is not the hip hop of yesterday. So when when I was a young lad, I noticed that it seemed like when hip hop came in, it was ushering its way in. We're gonna say around '82 is when I really seen like a boom of it. Right, a lot just hip hop coming in at the time. It was like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. I believe Run DMC came out later on that year. Um, and there was other rap acts too. Houdini. We talk about uh, late '82, early '83. Um, of course, Curtis Blow. He was out. But what I'm saying is, if you listen to how music was late '82, beginning of '83, let's go 3 years past that to '86. Okay, there was a difference in the music and the style of it, and what they were doing in it, right? So it went from bands, playing the backing music and rappers rapping over that to the drum machine era, right? Um, so that was late, well, '84, late '84, going to '85, um, up to '86 and summer '87. A lot of drum machines and turntables, and what they were doing was they come up with a dope drum beat and then scratch over the drum beat. Have little stabs, horns, dan, or scratch a saying or whatever. It was dope. Sampling didn't take off until, from what I heard, '87 is when I started hearing a lot of sampling. Hence, Eric B. and Rakim Paid in Full was one of the first, and MC Shan Down by Law. Um, that same year, there was a lot of albums that came out. Uh, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Rockin' the House. Touch of Jazz. That was my joint. I love that album. Of course, you had before then it was the Beastie Boys, License to Ill, and Run DMC. They were doing some sampling. That was '86. You know, Dana Dane had a dope album out. I thought the production on that was just fly. Right, Cinderfella, Dana Dane, for those who know. But the point I'm making is going from '82, right, the end of '82 up until uh, '85, there was a difference in the way hip hop sounded. You know, '85 we had the show Dougie Fresh, Lottie Dottie. You know what I'm saying? So, but it went from that type of or style of hip hop or rap. Let's go 8 years or 3 years from then to '88. Now, '88 we doing some heavy sampling. Now we got Biz Markie, Big Daddy Kane, uh, you know, the Juice Crew, period, KRS-One, BDP, Boogie Down Production, you know, it was just EPMD, you know, Stetsasonic, it was just, you know, it changed, you know what I mean? It jumped from '82 to '85, there was a jump, and then from '85 to '88, there was a jump. Now dig it, from '88 to '91, another 3 years, there was a jump. And so music, you know, it kept evolving. In hip hop, people were changing. Now, I ask people this a lot. I see it on the internet now, but years ago, before, you know, the internet was really popular and people were on talking about hip hop, I used to ask them, what was the last good year in hip hop? And I used to ask this like in the mid '90s, right? People give their opinion. But for me, the way I seen it when I was following it, it was '88, because that was, to me, was like the last year the rule of biting still applied. You know, you couldn't sound like someone else. It would just, you know, nobody would dig you. You'd get the thumbs down, okay? So, and that helped keep hip hop fresh, you know, original. It made it so you were pretty much guaranteed to hear good stuff all the time, because, you know, one group or one MC would be trying to be different than the next. They had to be better and they had to be different. And that's what kept the music fresh. Now, they threw biting out the window. These young guys, right? So I'm not dissing the younger generation. I'm saying that it's stale now. It's not fresh anymore because everybody's sounding like everyone, and it's not changing. So right now we're in 2026. If we go back 6 years ago, you listen to whatever popular rap song was out in 2020. Listen to what's out now. They sound the same. The beats are the same. What they're doing, you know, the auto tune or whatever they're doing with their voice, you know, the lazy where you could barely understand them, wording, things like that. Now here's what I'm saying, and this is especially what these videos are going to be about. Just my opinion. There's going to be haters. I don't care, but there's going to be people who like or agree with what I'm saying, because one thing I will do on this show is tell the truth. Okay, if I can't be truthful about anything, there's no sense of having a view, right? Anybody can lie, anybody can make up stuff. So you gotta excuse me. This my daughter. But anyway, so the music has to change, right? Okay, this is my daughter. Hey, how you doing? Wanda, love you. Okay, go. I'm recording. You're in the video. You can't do that. So the music has to change. It has to be different than what it is now. Somebody has to say, you know what? I'm going to be different. And there is. You know, don't get me wrong. You know, you got Kendrick Lamar, you got J. Cole, and not just them. There's other people out here doing it, you know, but it's not mainstream. So the industry is jacked up. It's not like it used to be. So the days of using hip hop as a message are over with. And for those, you've heard this before, there's no more Public Enemy, X Clan, poor righteous teachers, the people who are telling us what we should know and what we should do, and even how to carry ourselves. So there's no more of that. There's a lot of, I don't care. If you saying something, you corny. If you saying something positive, get high, violence, disrespect the ladies, uh, just ignorance, right? And it's being accepted. Why? Because it's mainstream. So people got to wake up and understand the fact that the industry puts out the music, the recording industry. They pay for the marketing. Um, they put these artists out here and they make them larger than life. They've been doing it forever. Before I was born, they were doing it. They exploit the artists. This is how they make their money. So when you're young, you hear the music, you see the artist, you think that's a great thing. And some of it is. Now, when I grew up, I remember, I don't want to put, too much on the younger generation, like, they just completely corny. You know, we was coming up, my mother listened to the OJs and Diana Ross and Earth, Wind and Fire, stuff like that. I don't think she was feeling Funkadelic. She wasn't feeling Parliament, you know what I'm saying? But I was, you know what I mean? And so I get that these things happen, as you go through different generations. But the point I'm making is, even though she might not have been feeling, Funkadelic and stuff, the stuff that she was feeling, I was feeling too. I was feeling Diana Ross and the Supremes, the OJs, Earth and Fire. All that stuff, I felt it too. You know what I mean? And I felt the funk. I felt the hip hop. So it's not about your age and if you're older now and just we can't understand it. No, I understand because I'm a producer. What I'm saying is the quality of the music. If you can't come up with something original enough, even for the labels, technically we could control the labels if we wanted to. All we have to do is stop being greedy for money. The Bible does say money is the root of all evil, right? So why do it? So I feel like if we want to change, they have the money, yes indeed. We have the talent. It's always been like that. They could tell us what to do and pay us, or we could do what we want to do and they could act like they're not going to pay us and shut us down and, get the ones that are weak. Or we could be strong and say, you know what? I ain't going to make this music because they paying me. I want to get paid, but you know what? Let me make something real to help my people, because right now we're winning, but we're losing. And it's because we don't stick together. We're too greedy. We want the money, we want the car, we want the fashion, we always got to shine. All these manufacturers making money off of us. They advertise something, we think we need it. But who really benefits? Do we benefit when we get it, or do they benefit when we buy it? We're going to talk a lot about things like this because I feel like it's important. And the podcast or video, whatever this is going to be, it'll be put up weekly, will be about situations like this. So I'm going to cut this thing short. I've talked enough. And y'all bear with me. The videos will get better as I keep doing them. I promise you that. And we'll just keep rolling, talking about things. I'll also be on here doing some mixes. I'll let you hear some of the tracks that I produce. and we'll talk about that production processes, even with the equipment. For example, you see here, this is a machine MK1, but I'm not using machine. The software, I just use the controller as a controller. I use MULAB, so that's MULAB. I use that software. I like it because it's quick, and I could get stuff done fast, along with Serato Sample and some other VSTs. So I'll show y'all about that one day, and we'll get into equipment. I am a gearhead. I've had a lot of equipment over the years, and God spoke to me and told me, you know what, less is more. So and you'll see why I say that. There's a lot of nice equipment out here now. Um, I used to have a ton of it. I used to have headaches from reading EQ magazine. For those who remember that, I'm taking y'all way back in the '90s and early 2000s. But that was because they advertised all the latest equipment, and they would have the artists that was popular at the time, and the studio engineers, and sometimes the people who designed the equipment. And they talk about the equipment. The producers would talk about their producing. You know, how they did it, the workflow that they did and things like that. But the magazine was super, 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 super. And there was another one called Computer Music I used to get into, where they would literally give you a DVD with the magazine, and it would have virtual instruments on it. They had their own DAW that they created, Digital Audio Workstation, and the VSTs, and they tell you about the latest virtual instruments, the plugins, the effects, and the instruments. So that was dope. They're not around anymore. So, but once again, I'm gonna shut my mouth. I talk a lot, and that's why I'm doing this show.